Hi, everybody. I'm Ricardo, and welcome to an episode of the Force for Growth podcast, music that moves and motivates.
Yes. Hello, I'm Courtney. Thank you for tuning in. And we are so excited to bring you Force for Growth music, where we will just be recapping some of our favorite songs, most profound songs, or lessons from music, and seeing how we can contribute to the world of personal development with our favorite songs. So, before we get started, I do want to just break it down and explain kind of where this came up. So, music is my favorite form of magic. And as you're rolling your eyes at me, let me explain. So, music itself is created from emotion. And if you study science or biology, all the physics, vibration and energy have a huge impact on us as humans, right? There are vibrations in songs. They are created from emotion. Whenever we listen to these, it brings up our emotions. And our emotional home is actually what creates the quality of our life and kind of that where we default to. That's why music is such a powerful tool. It also works immediately. Your favorite song can get you in a different state, a different mood, in a loving mood. It can turn that on immediately. And very few things in your life have that tool that work like that unless it's for the negative side. And as well, songs that you're speaking and vocalizing out these lyrics and these words, and especially if it's a song that means a lot to you and these words and they have quotes, you're speaking that, you're vocalizing it. So what do we talk about when we talk about spelling and words and things like that? You're casting a spell with your energy, and then it's also multiplied. Just picture at a concert when you are standing there with 5,000 other attendees singing your favorite song. Think about that energetic manifestation and what is really happening. You are creating a very magical moment and so much energy poured into it. So it's simple things like make up your own little songs. If you haven't made a playlist of, a pump up list or something like that, start there. Start a list of songs that help get you into a meditative state. So there are tools for everything. There are songs for if you are mad, turn on this playlist. It will help, breakup lists. So all kinds of things that it's a tool you should turn to. And I'm not telling you what to listen to or what to think on any kind of music, but we are just here to share with you what we do love about it. And thank you for tuning in. So we'd like to break this down. So I'm gonna hand it back to you, Ricardo, because you have the exciting part.
All right, let's go. Our first song. This is episode one, music that motivates and moves. Yay!
Yes.
All right. We've
Okay.
decided to go with an anthem. This is an anthem. This is a motivational and inspirational anthem. And you're going to recognize it from the first three chords, assuming you haven't read the title of this episode.
Yes.
But yes, you're going to recognize it. Here we go. Are you ready, Courtney Carr?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Boom. That's all you need.
That's the best. So
And really,
drop a
that's all we
comment
can play
below for
before we
some
get
brownie
cut off.
points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we don't want to get cut off here. So, our
So if you
first episode is going to focus on Eye of the Tiger by.
Survivor.
Let's
Yes.
go.
What a profound name. Okay. So you guys, there was so much fun facts that I've learned about this song, and I've always loved it, and it's always been an anthem. Ricardo, y'all make jokes about your family of lions. Well, I come from a family of tigers. We got a thing with tigers. So this song has always been an anthem for my mother and I. But break it down. Okay, so I was looking up who wrote it, why it was written, everything behind it. And okay, Sylvester Stallone. So let's rewind. This is the 80s, okay? So Sylvester Stallone had already come out with Rocky 1 and Rocky 2. And if you need some good personal development, juicy stories, look those up. But you already can tell why we love it if you've ever heard it. And he was working on Rocky 3. And basically, he needed his power anthem song. There's a great song that's a theme song for Rocky 1 and 2, but he was ready to switch it up, right? So
Oh, you
he,
know what? Here's the
what?
point. I
Okay.
always, when I, before I looked this up, I always assumed Eye of the Tiger was on all the Rocky movies, one, two, three, and four. I just
Yeah.
thought it was on all of them. Didn't realize that it didn't start till Rocky 3.
Yeah, it's definitely I kind of had that like deja vu moment where I'm like, okay, well, I thought it was this, but yeah. So that just power of how much of an anthem it becomes, and it literally represents a brand. But y'all, okay, so basically, Sly was hitting some hiccups with his music and copyrights with the songs that he actually wanted, and so he was a fan of this band Survivor and was a fan of their previous hit that they had come out with. I believe they just had one, and it Poor Man's Son, which Jim Petterick wrote for his wife that he's now been married to 47 years. So I love that thought. But basically, Sly called and left Jim Petterick a message, and it was the 80s. It was on a voicemail machine, and he thought his Italian manager was playing a joke on him. And so basically, someone talked some sense into him. He called Sly back, and Sly was like, "Yo, I want you to write a song for my new movie." And so they sent the first 3 minutes to the band and Frankie and Jim, the two songwriters. And so Sly sent this over, and they pop in the VHS and start playing the intro. And the intro already has Another One Bites the Dust by Queen in it. And so
Yep.
Jim calls Sly and is like, "Hey, you already have a badass song. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we writing the song?" He was like, "Yo, I couldn't get the copyright, so I need you to write the song." So they came up with the intro, that dun dun dun. So Jim Petterick, yes, just nothing tops the actual sound of it. Okay, so he took out his Les Paul guitar and he started playing around, emulating the beat of Punches. And that's how that beat was formed. Well, then they got stumped at the intro. So then they called up Sly and they're like, "Hey, I need you to send me the rest of the movie. Like, we need to see the rest of the content. We need to see, we're having trouble. We're stumped at the intro." And Sly's like, "I can't do that. I can't do that. They'll sue me. I can't do that." So he secretly FedEx overnighted a copy of the movie to the band. They literally had to FedEx it back right after they got done watching it. But from there, and from the scene where Apollo is telling Rocky, you lost the Eye of the Tiger. It's Eye of the Tiger, man. Come on, the Eye of the Tiger. So they decided if they didn't name it Eye of the Tiger, they're idiots. And from there, they easily were able to come up with the rest of it. Also, it was like 3 days later, 5 days later, they were at Chicago Recording Company recording the demo. And another fun fact I didn't realize, the version you hear in the movie is actually the demo. It's not the master. And so they recorded the demo really quick to help make the movie, right? And so when they went back in to record the master, it took them a month of consistently recording to beat and top that emotion and magic that was in the demo. So there's slight subtle differences, but if you pay attention, you can tell that that's actually the demo in there. But you guys, if Queen had taken that copyright deal, we would not have Eye of the Tiger. Like, where would we all be? Serious
I'm glad
question.
you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that. So, based on songfacts.com, I cheated. I went to songfacts.com. You did due diligence and
I
research.
called my mom and yeah.
I just went to songfacts.com. So, based on songfacts.com, you are correct. Yes, it was Another One Bites the Dust, and they couldn't get the rights. So the guys looked at each other and said, "Man, this is going to be tough to beat, but we're going to
Yeah.
try to top this."
Mhm.
So that's what they said. And imagine this, and think about that, Courtney. They had an epic song there already that they couldn't get the rights to. Another One Bites the Dust, right?
Yeah, which is another
And
beat we all know and like immediately are like dun dun dun. So
correct,
yeah.
correct. And but they turned to each other and said, "Hey, this is going to be tough to beat, but we're going to try to top this." And then they came up with Eye of the Tiger, that is all about stepping up and doing this and going for it and trying to make it happen and trying to win and persevering. Isn't that ironic?
That is ironic. It fits with the whole Rocky theme, like how Rocky 1 was made and funded and all of that. Just, I mean,
It does.
that means
And
a lot to
then
me knowing it was created for that.
the one little piece that I thought was amazing after this was they wrote the whole song in 3 days. After that, 3 days. So they got down with it. They pumped themselves up. They were like, "Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna come up with something better than Another One Bites the Dust." And they did it in 3 days,
Yeah.
Courtney. 3 days.
Like, what kind of that you guys, all they did was they got into this childlike creative state. They got themselves jazzed up. They plugged into a mission and they just went for it and they didn't hold back. And look what was produced. Like,
Wow.
oh,
It was amazing,
Yes,
wasn't it?
it
3
is.
days. And they
Yeah.
beat it. And one of the things that was interesting also, like during when they were doing all this and they were going back and forth, was like that you said that they reached out to Sly Stallone and asked him for the rest of the movie so they could come up with the song or whatever. They were like, I saw in another interview where, yes, they did that, but they didn't really need the rest of the movie They
Really.
already had the majority of the song, but they didn't want to wait for it to come out and premiere. How
Hey, if
about
you can
that?
do it, if you're in the position to make the request to watch a movie, why not?
Why not? Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah,
Why not?
that's
Right?
amazing. Oh, I love
Uh,
that.
so yeah, so I thought that was an interesting fact. So
It
yes,
is.
Eye of the Tiger was when Apollo went over there and helped him and talked to him about getting his hunger back and going to chase the championship. That's
Yes.
an epic moment in the
Mhm.
movie, isn't it?
It is. It just because I think Rocky 3 is where that's the one where Apollo and he do become buddies in a way, so it's profound.
It is profound. So there was another part here where they were talking about how Stallone liked the initial demo. He liked the initial demo of it, but then requested some changes. He wanted the drums louder, right? He wanted the drums to be beefier. He wanted the drums to really resonate. So he requested the change. And again, think about that, right? He's on
Mhm.
Rocky 3. He's already had major success with Rocky 1 and Rocky 2. And these guys come up and they come up with this great song that's already really good. But he still stuck to his guns and was like, I need a little bit more.
Mhm.
I need more drums. I need this a little bit different. I want more energy behind it. And
Mm.
he stuck to his guns. And look at what they created because he stuck to his guns and made the request,
Yeah.
because typically actors and writers, producers don't do that with the artists, right? Can you
Right.
imagine telling Elton John, "Hey, dude, we're
You
the
should do this a
producers
little
of The
different.
Lion King, and hey, dude, like that's not really what we're looking for. You
You
don't,
should play the piano different. Yeah, like,
yeah,
no.
you just don't do that, right?" But the fact that Sly was like, "Hey guys, this is what I want. I love it, but I want more drums. I want it more beefy. Let's go.
Mhm.
Let's do that." Right?
Yeah.
I just think that's an amazing part of the history of the song, that you do have to persevere. You do have to stick to your guns. You do have to go for it,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. That's like so stay hungry. So one of the ones, okay. So fun
Yeah,
fact,
stay
like
hungry.
tigers are carnivores. So like when they talk about hunger in the song, they pick this specifically. So if a carnivore, they actually their stomachs are really unique in that they're designed to eat as much as they can, eat as much as they can, and store the nutrition because it might be a week or two in the wild before they
Mm.
get their next meal. That's why your dog or your cat can just shovel more food in their mouth. And you're like, do they have a bottomless pit of a stomach? They do. You are not a strict carnivore. Humans are omnivores. But anyway, so my point is on that, you have to stay hungry. Like there will be times that you don't know when your next meal is and you're surviving on, the motivation from a month ago and this and that. But like if you cannot generate that hunger in you, like you're missing the ticket, you're missing that magic, right? And so the whole song's of course about that. I mean, all that I couldn't pick just one lyric, I'll be honest.
Let's go through the whole song, Courtney.
Okay, let's
All
do
right,
it.
I'll go through the first chorus, the first verse, and then you can do the second. How about that?
Okay.
All right, you ready? Let's
Yes.
go. Let's break. I'm gonna break it down. So I want to break it
Okay.
down, not
Because I
just go
hear it
through it.
different when I read it. Like
I
this,
do
you're
too.
we're always too busy singing along, you guys. We don't actually hear it sometimes. So this
We
is an
don't know the
important one to hear.
words.
Yeah.
So here we go. Ready?
Okay. Ready.
Let's do the little intro. Rising up, back on the street, did my time, took my chances, went the distance. Now I'm back on my feet. Just a man and his will to survive. Now, this is something that's important here as part of the song. On Rocky 1, one of the things that they talked about was going the distance.
Mm-hmm.
On Rocky 1, he went the distance because he was an unknown boxer that came up. Apollo handpicked him as an easy win, as a mark, if you will. But Rocky went the distance and when they didn't expect him to, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is a throwback to Rocky 1, where he was back on the street. He did his time. He took his chances. He went the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's back on his feet.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. So next verse. So many times it happens too fast. You trade your passion for glory. Don't lose your grip on the dreams of the past. You must fight just to keep them alive.
Ooh.
I know, right? It's the eye of the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight, rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last known survivor stalks his prey in the night, and he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger.
So one thing that I also read on soundfacts.com was that they didn't want to name it Eye of the Tiger. They knew that that was the perfect title for the song, but they didn't want to name it Eye of the Tiger because they were like, oh man, that's just too cheesy. Why would we name it Eye of the Tiger if that's one of the quotes in the movie?
Right.
But because they wrote rising up to the challenge of our rival, like what rhymes better than
Tiger.
Eye of the Tiger?
That's perfect.
Right. So they went with it. They submitted it with Eye of the Tiger, and of course, the rest of history. But again,
So if
you
you
have
feel
to.
like your dreams are stupid, maybe they're not.
Yeah,
Go
they're
for it.
not. Just go for it. And again, it's just the. It's just so ironic that the history of the song is about perseverance, and the song was made from a place of perseverance,
Mhm.
right? And the
Yeah.
history of it. All right. So here we go.
Okay.
Face to face, out in the heat. Woo! Hanging tough, staying hungry. They stack the odds till we take to the street for the kill with the skill to survive.
Whew.
What
Yeah.
the, I mean, that, we talk a lot about skills and abilities, right, Courtney? We talk
Mhm.
a lot about skills and abilities, but we never really talk about the skill just to survive. The
Mhm.
skill to survive through pushing through on those goals,
Yeah.
the skill to survive to push yourself to the next level.
Yeah. Like that skill to like that's the hunger you have to create. You might be surviving just fine, but you're never gonna make your goals happen surviving. So you gotta but so it just adds like weight
So
to
much. And
everything.
big shout
Yeah.
out to Les Brown. How can we talk
Yes.
about hanging tough and staying hungry?
I did. I wrote that down. I was like, well, I don't want to make it a Les Brown thing, but yes,
Say
we
it,
are
Courtney. Say
hungry.
it.
We are hungry.
We're
Yes,
hungry.
I'm a
Hungry.
giant Les Brown fan. I love you. I will meet you one day. So,
Yes. So
yeah.
back to the chorus. It's the eye of the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight, rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last known survivor stalks his prey in the night. And he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger.
Watching us all. Yes. And then, okay, to the last verse before it goes into the final chorus. Rising up straight to the top, had the gluts, rising up straight to the top, had the guts, got the glory, went the distance. Now I'm not going to stop. Just a man and his will to survive.
Woo! You got to have the
Just-
guts to go for the glory, don't you, Courtney?
Yes.
I mean, you
more
got to have
guts
the
than
guts
you
to go
realize.
for
And
the
they're going to
glory.
have butterflies, but you still got to push through it.
Yeah, you got to rise all the way to the top. And what's it going to take to rise all the way to the top is those guts. You got to have the guts.
Mhm.
And through
Yeah.
having those guts, you get the glory.
Yes. Yes. Can't shortcut it. Can't shortcut
And another shout out to Go in the Distance.
it.
We'll go in the distance again, and we're not going to stop.
Yeah.
Finish it off.
Okay, let's see. I switched back over there. Okay, stand by. Yes, so it's the eye of the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight, rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last known survivor stalks his prey in the night, and he's watching us all with eye of the tiger.
Woo! Now, if you guys don't remember Rocky 3, let's do a quick 2-minute recap of Rocky 3, if you will. Okay?
Okay.
Rocky 1, he was handpicked by Apollo Creed, who was the champ, because he thought he was going to be a layup. They weren't expecting Rocky to give him a fight.
Yeah.
So he went the distance, just like the song says, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rocky 2, he wins the championship.
Yeah.
Rocky 3 starts with Rocky just being very popular, very famous,
Yeah.
very rich, doing the thing, American Express commercials, all these things, being a super international star, getting the statue over there in Philly, the works, right?
Mm-hmm. But he
And
starts
then-
to struggle with hitting the next level, right?
He starts to struggle. Because apparently his manager, Mickey, had been handpicking his challengers, not really picking anyone that could put up a fight with Rocky.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Like, so they were being handpicked because his manager was trying to protect him. But in the midst of protecting him, he was actually doing more harm than good.
Yeah.
So then comes up Clubber Lang, I believe was his name. I'm doing this by memory. Clubber Lang.
You're doing great.
Mr. T. And Mr. T was on the streets. He had that hunger that Rocky had in Rocky 1.
Mm-hmm.
And now kind of like the story is flipped, where Rocky is Apollo in Rocky 1 and Clubber Lang is Rocky.
Mhm.
because he's grinding, he's going for it, and he's like, "Sucker, I want you. I
Yeah.
want you, sucker." And
Mhm.
so Rocky's like, "No, I'm not gonna back out. We're gonna go do this fight, whatever, whatever, whatever." And Rocky's training, and it's like this big spectacle. And his manager's like, "Dude, you're not training right for this guy. You're not training right for this guy." So
Mhm.
then they go to the fight, and Mickey is the little old guy, his manager for years, right? And Clubber Lang, they get into an altercation like in the stairwell, and Clubber Lang pushes him, and Mickey hits his head. And so Mickey ends up passing away right before the fight, Courtney.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a tragic thing. So,
He's Mickey. So
yeah.
then Rocky loses the fight. Rocky
Yeah.
loses his fight. And in the midst of that, he loses what? The eye of the tiger.
Yes. Which he then gets a special talk from his buddy, Apollo.
Boom.
And
Tell us about
yeah.
that, Courtney.
Yeah. Well, I have not seen the movie in many, many years, except for that scene has always stuck with me. But yeah, basically, he reminds him who the hell he is. Like he broke it down for Rocky as to what terrified Apollo back in the day when he first met Rocky. Like when he first realized, oh, this isn't any like fluff competitor. This is going to be a true fight. And when he realized, and how he realized that was the look in Rocky's eyes, until the actual fight happened. So there was something there that intimidated him. And anyway, so basically his buddy gave him the kick in the ass he needed. And then did they do the rematch at the end of Rocky 3? Or did
They
they do the
did.
rematch? Yeah.
They did, because Apollo took him back to the streets. He took him back to the nitty-gritty workout.
That's what it
He took
was.
him
Yeah.
back to the nitty-gritty workout, right? The street workout. Back
Mhm.
to where he came from. Back, not the splashy, fancy machines that Rocky was training with
No,
the
it's
first
punching
time.
in the butcher shop. Yeah.
Correct. He took him back to the old school where Rocky, the original Rocky, was preparing for the fight because he didn't have that fancy equipment, right? And the press. So they kicked the press out. They were like, "No, we're going to come out here and train." And man, you see them training. And then at the end, like there's a spot there where they're running and he can't run. He's like, "I can't do it, Apollo. I can't do it. I
Mhm.
can't do it." And then he gives him the pep talk, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end, they're running again.
Ugh. Oh, I have so much emotions with this. I'm like, go charge! Like, oh, okay.
And then he
Man,
wins. He
I
comes
want to
back and
rewatch
wins.
the whole series.
He
Let's
comes
all
back
watch
and wins.
the Rocky series together in the next week, you guys. Share with
Man,
us your thoughts.
it's amazing.
So,
If that
and this
does it,
song just holds all that within it. And I don't know, for me personally, I played this song in hard times. I played this song in happy times. And so I think just a lot of what we're anchored to with this song is very powerful. But play
yes.
it, let it motivate you. Turn it up, dance.
And that's all we need.
Yeah.
That's all we need. And technically, that's probably all we can play so the video doesn't get shut down.
We're figuring out the meaning.
Yeah,
But
it's okay.
It's
It's
okay.
okay.
So,
Good times, Courtney.
yes, good times. I just want to sing Eye of the Tiger all day now. So anyway, I've been jamming out to this for days and I love it. So just read up on it, listen to it, share with us what your favorite songs are, and drop a comment below. We would love to hear. But yeah, Force for Growth music #1 in the books.
Done and done. Thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook at
Force for Growth, and always remember to be a force for good,
A Force for Growth,
and a force for greatness. Thank you.
Bye.